The night does not begin all at once. It gathers slowly, like a hush settling over a quiet meadow at dusk. There is a softness to this hour, as if the world itself exhales and invites you to listen. You lie down, not to vanish from the day, but to be gently reintroduced to a quieter version of yourself. One that does not rush, does not reach, does not need to be anything more than still. As your body begins to rest, your mind steps toward the threshold of another world, the world of dreams. And here, in this delicate space between waking and sleep, something ancient begins to stir. Scientists call this state the hypnagogic phase, a fragile borderland where the conscious and unconscious meet like twilight and night. You may feel a falling sensation or see a flicker of light behind your closed eyes. This is not random. This is your brain quietly untethering from gravity, rehearsing what it's like to let go. In this suspended place, the mind whispers in symbols. The language of dreams is not spoken with grammar, but with meaning that flows like water, reshaping itself to fit the vessel of emotion. You might see a staircase that leads nowhere, or a key without a lock. These are not puzzles to solve, but invitations to feel. Psychological studies have found that our brains become more associative in sleep, more poetic, more willing to link the feather to the mountain, the song to the moon. It is the dreamer's genius, this ability to find connection where logic has no map. Did you know that when we dream, the parts of our brain responsible for visual imagery light up as vividly as if we were awake and watching the world with our eyes open? The colors, the textures, the motion, they are as real to your mind as anything you've seen with daylight on your face. This is why a flying dream can feel more true than memory, and why waking up from it can feel like leaving home. There is a quiet wonder in the fact that your brain rehearses emotional healing as you sleep. Research suggests that dreams are like gentle therapists, helping us process sadness, calm anxiety, and file away the sharp edges of daytime thoughts. If something troubled you today, don't be surprised if it visits you tonight, softened and wearing a mask. A gentle wave, a cloudy sky, a conversation with someone you've lost. It may not speak the language of solutions, but it may teach you how to rest beside the question. In ancient times, dreams were believed to be messages from the gods. In some way, they still are, not from Olympus or some sky-throned deity, but from the godlike depths within yourself. Carl Jung called dreams the royal road to the unconscious, where the soul draws its own maps and symbols become lanterns. A lion may not mean danger. It may mean courage. A house may not mean shelter. It may mean the shape of yourself. And when a door appears in a dream, so often it means only this: you are ready. Symbols appear not randomly, but with a certain emotional magnetism. The sleeping mind does not choose based on logic, but resonance. If your waking day has been full of pressure, your dream might show a rising tide, or a balloon floating too fast. If you felt unseen, a dream may place you in an empty theater or in front of a mirror that shows someone else's face. These are not meant to frighten you. They are metaphors sculpted in the dark, gentle nudges toward understanding, not judgment. You do not have to decode them tonight. There is no exam in the morning. Only trust that your mind is trying to help you carry something too heavy for daylight. Each image is a kindness, even the strange ones. Dreams do not obey time. You may live a lifetime in a single dream, or cross countries in one breath. This is because your sense of time is bound to narrative, not to clocks. In dreams, The narrative slips from your hands, and what is left is feeling, raw and uninterrupted. A sky that turns to water, a room that vanishes as you walk through it. These are not mistakes. They are truths that do not need roads. Sleep researchers have found that REM sleep, the deepest dreaming phase, is like a theater of emotional rehearsal. The brain, in this phase, selectively activates regions that help regulate emotion while temporarily quieting the parts involved in logic and fear. That's why we can fly without panic, why we can speak to a whale or walk across a city made of glass. The dream knows you need not be afraid. It's practicing letting go. And perhaps most beautiful of all is this: your body is paralyzed during dreams, gently held still by the brainstem so that you do not act out your visions. It is a quiet kindness from the body to the mind. Go ahead, it says, I'll hold you still while you wander far. And so you drift, a voyager held in place by love. Tonight, you may find yourself in a library with books that whisper instead of speak. You may walk barefoot through a garden that grows only under moonlight, or meet someone you have never known but already trust. These are dreams, and they are also you. Every scene, every symbol, every voice, it is all your mind, trying gently to remind you that you are whole, even when you forget. Sometimes we wake up with the sense that a dream meant something, even if we cannot say what. That feeling is not a mistake. It is a thread of meaning left for you to follow, not with answers, but with wonder. You are not supposed to solve your dreams. You are supposed to feel their echo and let it guide you like a scent on the wind. And so, let the night deepen around you. Let the language of symbols replace the weight of thought. Let the colors unfold behind your eyes. Somewhere beyond thought, a door is opening. You do not need to walk through it. You are already inside. The stars will keep their quiet watch. The earth will turn without needing you to push. And the mind will begin its nightly pilgrimage into shadow, into light, into the soft poetry of the sleeping self. You are safe here. You are already dreaming. There is a place within the dreaming mind where symbols bloom like night-blooming flowers, soft and slow, each one opening without sound. You do not walk there so much as float, carried by the gentle current of your own imagination. The garden is vast, and you are not lost in it. You are welcomed. Everything you see is growing out of you, like vines from a secret root you forgot you had. And still, something in you remembers. Tonight, the dream begins quietly, the way dew forms, without hurry, without demand. Perhaps you find yourself under a sky that does not end. Perhaps you are holding something small in your hand, a stone, a feather, a tiny folded note that reads like a memory from someone you've never met. These are not just dream fragments. These are parts of your story, rearranged into metaphors, the way the mind likes to speak when it no longer has to be literal. This is its poetry, and you are both the poet and the page. Psychologists tell us that dreams are the brain's way of integrating memory, emotion, and possibility. It is as if the mind takes all the scattered pieces of the day, the words unsaid, the glances half felt, the emotions that had no name, and sets them down in the soil of the unconscious to see what will grow. And what grows, more often than not, are symbols. Symbols are feelings with shape, and in dreams, shapes become keys. One of the most common symbols is the house. And when a house appears in a dream, it is rarely just architecture. Often, it is you, the self in all its levels. The basement may be your buried memories, the attic your aspirations. A locked door might mean a fear, or a part of you that isn't ready to be opened just yet. But you are not being punished. You are being shown, gently, what wants to be known. Sometimes you will dream of water, and this, too, speaks softly. A calm lake might reflect a state of emotional clarity. A storm at sea might echo a restlessness within. But the water never accuses. It only reflects. It says, "Here you are, in motion, in emotion, in being." You may dream of animals. Each one is more than it appears. A bird may not just be a bird, but the wish to rise above something. A snake may not be fear. It may be transformation, for in many cultures, snakes are not only threats, but symbols of healing and rebirth. Did you know that in ancient Greece, the god of healing, Asclepius, was always pictured with a serpent on his staff? Even today, medical symbols carry that winding creature. The dream remembers older meanings than the waking mind does. Sometimes you will find yourself moving through impossible spaces, corridors that stretch, staircases that loop back on themselves, elevators that move sideways or vanish into the air. These are not errors. These are emotional geometries. They are the shapes your feelings make when freed from structure. You are not supposed to reach a destination. You are supposed to feel the space open and move with you. This is how dreams remind us it is okay not to arrive. Being inside the experience is enough. Sleep researchers have noted that dreaming helps regulate our emotions by reactivating memories in a calmer, less aroused state. That means the mind is gently rehearsing, not to relive stress, but to soothe it. The dream says, "Let me show you this again, but more gently." It is the mind's way of saying, "You can hold this now. You are not alone with it. You are being cared for, even by yourself." You may dream of flying, and when you do, you are not escaping. You are remembering that there is a version of you that is already free. You might feel the wind even though there is no wind. You might soar over places that never existed, but the sensation will be real. Studies show that the vestibular system, the part of the brain that handles balance and motion, becomes active in flying dreams. It's not just fantasy. Your body believes you are soaring, and something in you is. Doors may appear, so may windows, each one a threshold, each one a question. Do you want to see something? Do you want to go somewhere? In dreams, you never have to answer aloud. You simply drift toward what you're ready to encounter. The symbol comes when the heart is willing, not before. You may see someone familiar, and yet not quite. A friend from long ago, but younger. A loved one, but with different eyes. A stranger who feels like family. These are often reflections of aspects of yourself, clothed in faces you will accept. It is easier to hear kindness from someone else, even when it is your own voice in disguise. Sometimes you will dream of being late, of missing a train, of packing in a rush. These are not about failure. They are about the parts of you that are trying to catch up with yourself. The dream creates the tension not to punish, but to express what hasn't been said. You are moving fast. Maybe too fast. Maybe something in you wants to be still. The anxiety is not the message. The message is underneath. Be gentle. Slow down. Some dreams feel like memories. Others feel like myths. There are dreams that carry the flavor of childhood, where you run without effort, or speak to animals, or sit with someone long gone. These dreams are not nostalgia. They are repair. They are your mind reaching across time to remind you nothing is lost. Everything can be held again, even if only in the soft light of a dream. You may find yourself underwater, breathing without fear, or walking through a city where everything is made of glass, or holding a map that rewrites itself as you walk. These are not riddles. They are mirrors. What you feel in the dream is often more important than what happens. Emotion is the ink. Imagery is just the script it chooses for the night. And when you wake, if you carry only one feeling from the dream, a scent, a color, a gesture, let it be enough. The dream is not asking to be understood. It is asking to be listened to. As the night deepens, your brain will drift through cycles of light sleep and deeper REM. Each phase brings its own kind of dreaming. Some light, like shadows on the ceiling. Others thick and glowing, like stories told by firelight. And all the while, your heart beats calmly, your breath flows steady, and your mind becomes a painter working by moonlight, layering memory with emotion, fact with wonder, science with poetry. And here you are, inside that painting, floating between meanings, listening not with your ears, but with something slower, something wiser, that wakes only when the world goes quiet. Let it stay quiet now. You are not expected to make sense of every image. You are only asked to drift with them, to let the tide of your own mind carry you gently through the symbolic night. No explanations needed, no effort required, just breath and softness, and the knowledge that even now, even here, something beautiful is blooming behind your closed eyes. Symbols, memories, echoes, and the garden of your sleeping self. The night holds you. The dream speaks softly, and you are safe to follow. There is a hush the night wears when it means to cradle you. It does not arrive all at once, but flows around you slowly, like water folding itself into a quiet cup. You are held now, not in arms, but in awareness. Something older than thought is turning its face toward you. The world outside your eyelids is dark, but the world within is just beginning to glow. You drift through the soft layers of sleep like a feather passing through still air. Light sleep first, a gentle doorway where sounds blur and thoughts loosen, and then deeper, slower, deeper still, until you reach that quiet place where dreams unfurl like silver leaves on a tree no one sees but you. This is REM sleep, the place where your body stays still, but your mind lights up like constellations. It is the closest we come to dreaming with our entire being. And did you know? During REM, the brain's limbic system, the heart of emotion, becomes luminous with activity, while the prefrontal cortex, that voice of logic and rules, softens its grip. It is a sacred exchange. The world of waking steps aside, and the imagination is left to breathe, full and wild and free. This is not chaos. This is another kind of order, the kind that speaks in symbols, in riddles, in metaphors only the soul truly understands. Tonight, the dream may carry you into a forest, not the kind marked on maps, but one made of memories and moods. The trees are taller than they should be. The leaves shimmer with a light that doesn't come from the sky. You are not lost. You are being invited. Every branch, every path, every flicker of movement in the corner of your vision, all of it is your own inner language, blooming into image. Dreams are often filled with places we've never seen, and yet we know them. Scientists call this cognitive simulation, the brain stitching together pieces of lived experience, stored images, and imagined feeling to build a world entirely new. And so you walk through a hallway that feels like school, but isn't. You sit in a cafe that smells like childhood. You speak with someone who has your mother's voice, but wears your grandmother's laugh. These are not mistakes. They are poems written by the unconscious. And like any good poem, the dream does not explain itself. It evokes. It leans close and says, "Feel this." That's why sometimes you wake with a sensation so vivid: joy, sorrow, awe, even though the dream itself has already slipped away. The emotion lingers because it was real. Your heart doesn't know the difference between the dreamed and the waking. It only knows what it felt. You may find yourself floating tonight, not flying high above the world, but drifting just above the ground, like breath held in a sacred pause. This kind of dream often reflects peace, a gentle freedom. Psychologists have found that dreams about flying or floating often come during times of emotional release, after a decision has been made or a weight has been set down. The dream does not celebrate with fireworks. It whispers, "You are lighter now." And then there are the falling dreams, the sudden drop, the breath that catches. But even this has meaning beyond fear. Falling, say sleep researchers, often comes when we're in transition or letting go of something long held. The body may jolt awake, a reflex from ancient instincts, but the meaning is not danger. It is surrender. You are not breaking. You are being unfastened from the day. Inside the dreaming mind, time is no longer a straight line. You may live through a decade in a minute, or visit 3 places in the space of a breath. This is because dreams are not bound by the clock, but by feeling. The more charged a moment is, the longer it lasts. This is why some dreams feel eternal, even if your sleep was short. It's not about minutes. It's about meaning. Tonight, you may return to a place you have visited only in dreams. A staircase that spirals upward into clouds. A room with no ceiling. A library with books written in languages you cannot read but still understand. These recurring places are not just decorations. They are patterns, constellations in your inner sky. Each time you return, you are seeing a new version of yourself reflected in that setting. Dreams remember where you've been, even if you forget. Some symbols are so old they seem universal. Across cultures and centuries, people have dreamed of water, flight, death, birth, teeth, animals, weather. The psychologist Calvin Hall once said that dreams are a reflection of the dreamer's concept of self. That is, when you dream of a storm, it is not the sky that's angry. It is your emotions swirling, asking to be witnessed. When you dream of a locked box, it may be your own mystery calling to you, not to be solved, but to be kept sacred for just a little longer. And perhaps the most beautiful fact of all is this: the dream belongs only to you. No one else will dream exactly what you dream, in the exact way you dream it. It is your private universe, painted in images, sculpted in feeling, set to the rhythm of your own heart. Even when you share it with others, you are translating something that cannot be copied. You are the only witness to that particular constellation of story and symbol. You are the moon inside your mind. Some dreams will visit once and never return. Others will come back again and again, changing slightly each time, like waves reshaping the shore. These are not mistakes or signals. They are rhythms, your unconscious dancing to the music of your life. And sometimes, rare and glowing like fireflies, you may become aware inside the dream, lucid, knowing that you are dreaming. When that happens, something extraordinary occurs. The walls become doors. The ground becomes sky. You realize you are not just the dreamer, but the maker of the dream. These moments of lucidity are not always planned. They arise like sudden stars, gifts, not goals. And when they come, they remind you of something quietly profound. You are not powerless in your inner world. You can choose, even here, But most nights, the dreaming remains soft and passive, like mist. That's good too. You do not need to control your dreams. You only need to receive them, like lullabies sung in a language deeper than words. And now, as you rest more deeply, your breath has slowed, your muscles softened, your awareness half turned toward the moonlit horizon of sleep. The symbols are still forming behind your closed eyes. Maybe a key, maybe a bird, maybe just a warm light you can't quite name. You don't need to understand it. You are not solving a mystery. You are becoming one. Let the night continue its gentle weaving. Let the dreams speak in colors and questions. And let yourself go farther into the hush, the warmth, the soft unknowing. The dream is waiting, and it has all the time in the world. There is a quiet that lives beneath sound, not the absence of noise, but a presence softer than silence. That's where this part of the night begins, in the lull just beneath everything else. Here, your body is cradled in warmth, still and patient. Your thoughts have slowed into shadows, your breath into rhythm. You do not have to try anymore. You are already arriving. Deep within the layers of dreaming, the mind begins to unfold itself like a spiral shell, inward, 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 until it finds the place where memory, emotion, and mystery blend into one. This is where the mirror of the dream rests, not a mirror of faces, but of feeling. It reflects not how you look, but how you are, and it speaks in the slow language of images, sensations, and soft symbols. Tonight, you may find yourself walking along a shoreline, where each wave carries something you once felt, not vividly, not sharply, but like a scent you almost remember. The water speaks, not in words, but in presence. And as you move along that liminal edge between sea and land, between sleep and wake, your dream begins to listen with you. Dreams often return us to unfinished emotions, not to trap us, but to complete something that daylight didn't have time to finish. A sigh never released, a goodbye never said, a wonder never named. These threads are picked up in the dark and gently woven into stories. This is not repetition. This is resolution, not with answers, but with softness. Have you noticed how some dreams feel dim, muted, even gray? That, too, has meaning. Color in dreams is linked to emotional tone. Vivid dreams, full of gold, green, blue, often arise from strong emotional states, while muted ones may reflect inner quiet or a wish to retreat, to rest. Even the dream chooses how much color you need. It paints only what serves. And when a mirror appears in a dream, an actual mirror, clear or cracked, it is not just a reflection. It is a symbol of self-awareness. Often, mirrors appear when we are on the cusp of realizing something about ourselves. Sometimes we look and see our own face, altered or unfamiliar. Sometimes we see someone else's. Either way, the dream is not pointing outward. It is whispering inward. Here is something you're ready to meet. The subconscious holds not just personal memories, but inherited ones. Jung called this the collective unconscious, a deep ocean beneath the private river of your life, where the symbols shared by humanity drift like old boats. That is why you may dream of a wise old man, a nurturing mother, a dark forest, a bright child, a serpent circling itself. Even if you've never studied these things, the dream remembers them for you. These are archetypes, ancient emotional shapes that the soul uses to speak when words fall away. You do not need to be a scholar to understand them. Your body already knows. When you dream of being chased, it knows the feeling of avoidance. When you dream of a light that won't turn on, it knows the fear of not seeing clearly. The images do not require interpretation. They only ask to be felt, gently, like holding a stone warmed by the sun. Some of the most healing dreams are the ones in which you forgive someone or are forgiven. You may dream of someone long gone or someone who hurt you, and they may speak kindly or simply sit beside you. This does not mean forgetting. It means the heart is trying to soften, to release, to stop carrying what is already past. The dream does not erase pain. It holds it until it no longer hardens into shape. You may dream of crying and wake with dry eyes, but a lighter heart. This is not a contradiction. It is the body and soul cooperating, one holding still while the other releases. And then there are dreams of rooms, endless rooms. Some open into gardens. Some are locked. Some are familiar. Some are impossibly strange. The room is a symbol of your inner landscape, each door a threshold to a part of yourself. A library may suggest a hunger for wisdom, a kitchen, creation and nourishment, a forgotten attic, something stored long ago and ready to be revisited. These images are your own architecture. You do not need a key. You only need presence. Have you ever had a dream that seemed to predict something? A future event? A sudden intuition that later proved true? Science does not claim certainty here, and yet the dreaming brain is a master of subtlety. It collects signals, patterns, fragments of feeling we missed in waking. The dream then assembles these threads into a tapestry that sometimes brushes against what's to come. Not magic, just a deeper listening. Dreams can be metaphoric rehearsals. You may dream of speaking in public before a real-life event, or of finding your way through a maze when your waking life feels uncertain. The brain prepares itself emotionally, using symbols as practice, not so you will solve the maze, but so you will know that you can move inside one. Sometimes you will wake with a single image in your heart, a silver bird, a candle in a cave, a path lined with light. These are gifts. You do not need to name them. You only need to carry them into your day like talismans. They came from your depths and are meant for you. As you drift deeper into this quiet hour, your body relaxed and your mind slowly untethered. Know this: your dreaming self is not separate from you. It is not a stranger. It is simply the part of you that speaks in a different voice, softer, slower, symbol-shaped. And tonight, that voice is singing, not loudly, not even with words, but with presence, with stillness, with the gentle echo of all you are, folded into the hush of sleep. Let the mirror beneath the surface reflect only this: you are safe, you are whole, and you are already dreaming. The deeper the night becomes, the gentler it feels. Not heavy, not dark, but expansive, like a sky with no edges, stretching around you as if it had always meant to cradle your thoughts. You are lying still now, but you are also traveling. In the slow rhythm of your breath, a path opens, one step at a time, without feet, without ground, and you enter the soft terrain of dreams once more. What is a dream, if not a home built from invisible bricks? A structure without walls, yet full of rooms. A place with no ceiling, but shelter enough for every part of you. You may think you are leaving the world behind when you sleep, but really, you are stepping into one that lives just beneath it. One that your mind creates in the moment you begin to let go. Inside this world, everything has meaning, not because it was designed to be explained, but because it was shaped from your feelings. The architecture of dreams is emotional, not physical. A narrow hallway might mirror anxiety. A vast, open field may echo a longing for freedom. A house with no exits might reflect something unresolved. Yet none of these are threats. They are reflections, like weather inside the soul. Scientists have found that dream content often mirrors what we call waking concerns. Your brain takes the emotional weight of your day, even the moments you barely noticed, and reweaves them into symbolic scenes. A missed conversation may become a train you can't quite board. A feeling of achievement might take the form of climbing effortlessly up a hill bathed in golden light. Your brain translates emotion into image the way a musician might turn mood into melody, without asking for permission and without needing to be exact. And in this symphony of the unconscious, doors appear. So many doors, some familiar, some strange, some locked, some wide open. Doors are among the most common dream symbols across cultures, and for good reason. They are thresholds, choices, endings, and beginnings folded into one. When a door appears in a dream, something inside you is ready to move. Even if you don't yet know where, you may walk through one tonight, and what you find on the other side may not follow the logic of waking life. Perhaps a hallway opens into a forest. Perhaps your childhood bedroom sits quietly in a cathedral. The dream does not worry about coherence. Its concern is feeling. The juxtaposition of places is its way of saying, this, and this, and this too. All of it is part of you. Some dreams are vivid, almost sharp with detail. You remember the fabric of a curtain, the shape of a key in your hand, the way a single word was spoken. Others are hazy, more suggestion than story, like fog with a memory inside it. Both are valid. Both are real. The vivid dreams may reflect events that left stronger emotional traces. The hazy ones may be the mind's quiet processing, subtle and slow. You might find yourself building something in a dream, a house, a bridge, a boat. These are not simply acts of creation. They are metaphors of the self in motion. Construction often appears in dreams when we are growing, healing, changing shape within. You may be adding new rooms to your inner house, or preparing to cross an inner river. Conversely, dreams of broken buildings, crumbling walls, flooded basements, shattered windows, do not mean you are broken. Quite the opposite. They may be invitations to look inward, to repair, to acknowledge old fears with gentleness. The dream does not judge the damage. It simply brings it into the light of your dreaming eyes, saying, "This is still here. Shall we hold it for a while?" And then there are elevators, escalators, ladders. These are powerful dream symbols of movement between levels of consciousness. Upward motion often reflects rising awareness, hope, energy. Downward motion is not descent into darkness, but into depth, into root, into something waiting quietly at the base of your being. Even bathrooms, kitchens, gardens, so ordinary by day, carry significance at night. Bathrooms may symbolize cleansing, release. Kitchens, creativity, nourishment, the alchemy of transformation. Gardens are often the most symbolic of all, spaces of growth, cultivation, inner blooming. To dream of planting, of watering, of walking among trees that weren't there yesterday. This is your soul's way of reminding you, you are still becoming. Do not worry if the rooms shift shape, or if walls appear where none were. This is the dream's language. It rearranges its architecture not to confuse you, but to show you that the inner world is never fixed. It breathes with you. It evolves as you sleep. Have you ever dreamed of climbing stairs that seem endless? Or being in a building that never stops expanding? These dreams often arise during times of transition, especially emotional or psychological growth. The mind presents the journey not as a line, but as levels, each floor a new layer of understanding. You may not reach the top. You may not be meant to. The motion itself is the message. Keep ascending. Some nights, you may dream of being stuck, trapped in a room, or circling the same hallway again and again. This, too, has meaning. These dreams may emerge when something in you is longing to change, but hasn't found how yet. The dream acts it out, so that you can feel the edges of what wants release. There is no punishment in this, only awareness. Even darkness in dreams has texture. It may not be empty. It may be resting. The dark corridor, the unlit room, the shadowy corner. These are not always threats. They are places where the unconscious keeps what it isn't ready to reveal. And that's all right. Not everything must be understood at once. The dream respects your pace. And sometimes, in the quietest of dreams, you may sit in a room with no windows, no doors, just light, just calm, just the sense of being present. These dreams come when the soul is tired of motion and needs stillness. When no architecture is needed, just space. As you breathe now, slow and soft, anchored in the weightlessness of sleep, imagine that your own inner house is being gently restored. Every room dusted with starlight. Every corner warmed by the quiet presence of your dreaming self. The walls do not trap you. They shelter you. The doors do not separate. They invite. And the house of your mind continues to grow, not upward, not outward, but inward, into deeper safety. The night holds its breath around you. The symbols fold into quiet, and the story begins to soften, as all stories do when they are no longer trying to be understood. Let it be. You are the architect and the guest. You are the dream and the dreamer, and you are already home. Sleep speaks in many voices, not just in images and symbols, but in the soft hum of the body itself. Tonight, as you drift further from the shore of waking, the mind and body begin a gentle conversation, quiet and wise, far older than language. Every breath you take now is part of that exchange, slow and rhythmic, a lullaby written in biology. You are not just sleeping, you are being restored. The body does not fully vanish in dreams. Though still and heavy in the quiet of rest, it remains subtly aware, watching from beneath the surface, whispering sensations into the landscape of the mind. A sense of floating may come not only from metaphor, but from the inner ear shifting slightly in sleep. The warmth of imagined sun may echo the heat gently stored in your blanket. The body and the dream are not two. They are one slow rhythm, each echoing the other. Science tells us that during REM sleep, our bodies are temporarily paralyzed, a natural stillness, a protective hush. This is not confinement. It is care. The body holds itself still so the mind can move freely. It is one of nature's gentlest acts of cooperation. Your limbs rest like anchors while your inner self sails beyond time. And while your body lies still, your heart and breath slow into a pattern that matches the dream's pace. Emotions are processed not just by thought, but by muscle, nerve, breath. That is why you may wake feeling calm, even if you cannot recall the dream itself. The healing happened in layers deeper than memory, like rain nourishing roots beneath the soil. You may have noticed that certain dreams carry sensation, of flight, of touch, of motion. These are not illusions. They arise because the brain's sensory centers are active during sleep, especially when emotions are vivid. Your dreaming self feels, not just emotionally, but physically, in the echo chambers of the mind. A hug from someone long gone, the softness of snow underfoot, the brush of wind in a place you've never visited. These sensations are the body remembering how to feel without acting. And when you wake from such dreams, don't be surprised if your hands feel warm or your chest light. The body carries the residue of dreams like perfume, faint but real, a trace of the place you've just been. Even dreams of falling have a physical root. That sudden jolt, called a hypnic jerk, is your muscles releasing tension as you descend into deeper sleep. The falling isn't a warning. It's a signal that you've let go, that gravity has loosened its grip, and your body is reminding you it's safe to surrender. Sometimes you might dream of running and feel your heart race, or cry in a dream and find your eyes wet. These crossings between dream and flesh are called dream enactments, and while rare, they show us how intertwined our sleep truly is. The barrier between mind and body thins at night, not to confuse, but to unite. In dreams, pain is rare, and when it does appear, it often carries meaning rather than sensation. A wound that doesn't hurt, a scar that glows. This, psychologists believe, is because the brain dampens pain signals during sleep, allowing the dream to explore what wounds mean rather than what they feel like. In this way, dreams help us heal, emotionally, symbolically, sometimes physically, without re-traumatizing. Dreams may use the body as metaphor. A broken leg may symbolize hesitation, a sore throat, a voice unspoken. A heavy body may echo emotional weight, while a light one might reflect release. These are not diagnoses. They are invitations. The dream is not diagnosing you. It is offering a mirror with kindness at its edges. There are dreams of transformation, too, where the body changes. You grow wings. You become a tree. You dissolve into stars. These are the mind's way of reimagining the self, not to escape it, but to stretch its boundaries. Symbolic transformation often appears during periods of growth or inner shift. The dreaming mind says, you are more than one thing. You can become. Even temperature in dreams has meaning. A warm fire may reflect comfort, connection. A cold wind may suggest distance, not just physical, but emotional. The dream does not simply recreate the world. It weaves it from your inner climate. And your body knows, even in sleep, what warmth and coolness feel like, and what they mean. Have you ever noticed that you sleep more deeply when your emotions have been fully expressed during the day? This is no coincidence. Emotional expression regulates the nervous system and, in turn, deepens sleep quality. When we speak our truth, cry our tears, laugh our laughs, the body is not burdened with what remains unspoken. The dream, then, has more space to play, to create, to roam. And when you do not express, when words stay caught in your chest, or when feelings stay folded inside, the dream often takes over. It paints those unsaid things in metaphor. A tight hallway, a choked river, a song you can't quite sing. The body asks the dream to help, and the dream does, gently, without shame. There are dreams in which you are ill, and then you heal. Dreams in which you are tired, and then strong. These, too, are reflections of inner longing. The body's quiet hope translated into symbol. They remind you of your own resilience, even while you sleep. And there are dreams where the body is forgotten altogether, where you become pure vision or sound or breath. These dreams are rare and luminous. They often leave you waking in wonder, with a softness in the chest, as if something holy passed through you in the night. The dreaming body is not a separate body. It is simply the one you know, seen from within. All its aches, its joys, its memories, its longings, shaped into story. And every dream it enters becomes a place of potential healing. So rest now more deeply. Let your breath carry you gently. Let your muscles release their memory of the day. Let your heart slow into the rhythm of clouds. You are not just sleeping. You are listening to the voice of your body, the one that speaks only when everything else is still. Let it speak. Let it show you what it has kept safe, what it is ready to offer you. And let the dream continue, unfolding, releasing, becoming. The night has grown deeper now, softer still, a velvet hush that touches every corner of your being. You are no longer just resting. You are floating through the quiet stream that flows beneath thought, beneath memory, beneath names. You are in the center of something vast and luminous. And slowly, gently, the dream begins to turn its gaze toward you. Not as a stranger, but as the dreamer. You are the silent star of every dream you've ever had, even the ones where you never appear. Your feelings are the ink, your questions the compass, your longings the weather that shifts the sky. Even when you watch from a distance, when scenes play out without you, when voices speak that are not yours, it is still your dream, still your center. The mind casts every role, paints every sky, builds every wall from your quietest truths. Tonight, the story may unfold without logic. That's all right. Dreams are not books. They are constellations. They shimmer into shape around your inner life, blinking in and out of order, revealing just enough to feel, but not enough to finish. There is comfort in this, in knowing that not all stories need conclusions. Some just need to be felt. Psychologists call this kind of dreaming ego diffusion, when the self is not fixed, but flexible, sometimes watching, sometimes acting, sometimes shifting shape entirely. It reflects the brain's freedom during REM sleep to explore identity without boundaries. You may become a bird, a stranger, a child, a voice. This isn't confusion. It's expansion. Your sleeping mind is reminding you that you are more than a single shape. And yet, in the center, you remain. Not always visible, but always present. You are the dreamer behind the dream. Have you ever had a dream where you were both inside the story and watching it unfold from above? That's called dual consciousness, and it happens more often than we realize. The dream mind can hold multiple perspectives at once. You can feel, observe, narrate, and respond, all without effort. It is one of the great mysteries of the dreaming state. We are not bound by the same rules. We are free to be the viewer and the viewed. This is especially powerful when dreaming about the self. You may dream of yourself in childhood, not just seeing that younger version of you, but feeling what they felt, hearing what they heard. The dream allows you to revisit places memory alone cannot reach. Sometimes this is healing. Sometimes it is tender. Sometimes it is quiet grief. But always, it is a chance to be with yourself in ways waking life rarely allows. There are also dreams of multiplicity. You may find yourself split into two characters, or switching roles within the dream. These are not errors. They are expressions of the many voices that live inside you. The confident one, the quiet one, the curious one, the one that hides, the one that reaches. The dream gives each voice a body and lets them speak. There is no judgment, only integration. And sometimes you are not in the dream at all, not visibly. You observe a landscape, or a city, or a conversation between others. These dreams often arise when something in you is watching, learning, gathering without interference. Even in absence, you are present. Your gaze shapes what unfolds, like the moonlight, never touching, but always illuminating. You may notice that some dream characters feel more real than others, more vivid, more alive. Sometimes they speak truths you've never said aloud. Sometimes they challenge you. Sometimes they comfort. In Jungian psychology, these figures are called inner aspects or dream figures. They may represent parts of your psyche that are ready to emerge. The wise old man, the trickster, the lost child, the loving friend. Each one carries a piece of your own story, shaped into a face that you will accept. When these dream figures speak, listen gently, not for answers, but for tone. Often, what matters is not what they say, but how they say it. The dream wraps meaning in subtle music. It asks only for attention, not interpretation. And there are dreams where you are completely yourself. No masks, no shifts. And yet something is different. You move through the world without fear. You speak with perfect clarity. You act with kindness you didn't know you had. These are dreams of becoming, where the self shows itself not as it is, but as it longs to be. Not as an ideal, but as a truth waiting for space. These dreams are not fantasy. They are the blueprint of your own becoming. The mind trying on futures to see how they feel. A rehearsal not for performance, but for presence. Lucid dreams, those rare, glowing moments when you realize you are dreaming, can awaken this sense even more. When you become conscious within the dream, you often feel a rush of calm clarity. You can fly, speak, change the setting. But more often than not, people don't do grand things in lucid dreams. They look around quietly. They sit. They listen. Because the dream, when seen clearly, is already enough. Some of the most profound dreams are also the quietest. A silent snowfall, a moment of eye contact, a hand held without words. These dreams often stay with us long after waking, not because they were dramatic, but because they were true. They showed us something gently real about who we are, who we love, what we need. You may not remember every dream. That is natural. The mind forgets to protect the waking self from overload. But the feeling remains. The imprint, the afterglow. Even a forgotten dream leaves traces, a softness in the chest, a change in the rhythm of thought, a calm where there once was tension. Tonight, as the dream builds itself around you once more, know this: the story will shift. The scenes may blur. The symbols may fold in on themselves. But at the center, you will remain. Breathing, floating, becoming. You are the dreamer behind the veil. The architect of every bridge, every field, every face. And as the night deepens, the dream does not forget you. It carries you gently, as it always has, not as a puzzle to solve, but as a mystery to hold. Let yourself be held. Let the story shape itself around your quiet pulse. Let the symbols drift like lanterns on still water, and rest in the knowing that within the dream, you are always known, always welcome, always home. Somewhere in the hush of this hour, where time no longer marches but simply breathes, the dream begins to unfold like a map made of mist. You don't need to hold it. You don't need to read it. It finds its way to you on its own, shaped not in ink or directions, but in feeling, in the weight of a glance, in the pull of a path that was never drawn but always known. This is how dreams guide us, not with arrows, but with symbols. Tonight, as your breath slows and the body becomes a gentle outline, the compass of the dream turns quietly. not toward a place on a map, but towards something inside, a need, a longing, a hidden truth that has been waiting in the soft folds of the subconscious. Dreams do not shout. They suggest. They do not instruct. They invite. Researchers who study the dreaming brain often compare it to a rehearsal space, a private stage where scenarios, fears, hopes, and choices can be explored without consequence. The mind practices decisions, emotions, connections, not to perfect them, but to understand them from new angles. The dream is a compass not because it points to a single answer, but because it allows the self to wander and return, to test and rest, to feel without explanation. Imagine this. You dream of being in a city you've never seen, yet you know every turn. You follow a street that becomes a river that becomes a hallway. The logic slips away, and yet you are not lost. That is the compass at work, not pointing, but listening, letting your inner self choose direction not with thought, but with recognition. There is a psychological theory called threat simulation, which suggests that dreams allow us to face imagined dangers in safe spaces. But many modern thinkers believe it goes deeper than that dreams don't just simulate threats, they explore meaning. A broken bridge in a dream may not be about danger, but about timing. A forgotten bag may reflect a burden you're ready to set down. The compass is not showing what to fear. It is showing what you're carrying. And often, the compass brings beauty. You may find yourself walking through a field lit by a sun that never rises. You may see a tree growing upside down, its roots filled with stars. These dreamscapes aren't random. They are emotional truths made visible. The field might be peace. The tree, a desire to return to origin. You don't have to know for certain. You only have to feel what you felt when you saw it. Dreams often return to symbols again and again. A car you can't control. A staircase you keep climbing. A suitcase that's always empty. These repetitions are not mistakes. They are echoes. Your mind returning to the same question, asking it with new metaphors, offering you different ways to hear. The dream says, "You're still holding this. Are you ready now?" And if you are not, that's all right. The dream will ask again, another night. It is infinitely patient. Sometimes, the compass points backward. You dream of an old home, a place from childhood, a person you haven't spoken to in years. These are not just memories. They are signals that something from the past is still alive in the present, that an emotion you once felt is still shaping your thoughts. The dream does not say return. It says, remember. The difference is gentle and kind. And then, there are dreams that seem to come from nowhere. Whole narratives that have no obvious root. A garden on the moon. A stranger who knows your name. These dreams, some psychologists believe, may arise from unconscious insights. Thoughts you've had but never held. Patterns you've seen but never traced. The mind leaves them like feathers on your pillow, soft messages from just beyond waking. You do not need to explain them. You only need to be open to the feeling they leave behind. The compass can also show you your desires, not always with clarity, but with longing. A door you want to open, a mountain you want to climb, a voice you want to hear. These are the dream's gentle suggestions. Look here. Not commands, not obligations, just possibilities shaped like invitations. In Jungian psychology, these dream symbols are called guiding images. They don't just reflect the self, they lead it forward. The boat that carries you, the animal that follows you, the light that waits just beyond the trees. They are not answers. They are companions. You can follow them, not in waking life exactly, but in awareness, in how you listen to yourself, in what you allow to arise. And sometimes, the compass simply points to stillness. You may dream of sitting on a bench, of watching the sky change, of listening to a song with no words. These dreams remind us that guidance is not always movement. Sometimes it's a pause, a breath, a permission to be exactly where you are. Not all dreams feel clear. Some are tangled, confusing, unfinished. That, too, is guidance. The mind unspooling knots, the heart loosening old threads. It does not need to be resolved in one night. The dream trusts that you will return, and you will. Each night, the compass resets. Each night, the story changes. But the center remains you, the dreamer, the one who listens, the one who follows not signs, but sensations, not maps, but meanings. So rest now. Let the compass spin, not to find your way, but to show you how many ways there are. Let the symbols rise and fall like stars beneath the surface. Let the night carry you not forward, but inward, where the real direction lives. And know, quietly and surely, that you do not need to arrive. You are already where you need to be. The dream deepens like twilight sinking into velvet water, quiet, unhurried, whole. You are no longer floating at the surface. You are further in now, breathing with the rhythm of your sleeping self. This is the hour when the darker shapes begin to emerge, not with fear, but with invitation. The shadows appear, not to chase, but to speak. Many dreams bring images that feel strange, uncertain, even a little uncomfortable. A hallway with no end. A stranger who watches but does not follow. A version of yourself you don't recognize. But the purpose is not to alarm. It is to reveal. Shadows in dreams are not always threats. Often, they are truths softened by distance. The parts of you that have been waiting quietly for your attention, not demanding, not loud, but persistent in their longing to be seen. In analytical psychology, Carl Jung called this the shadow, the unacknowledged side of the self. The dream is one of the safest places this shadow can appear. It steps into shape not to frighten, but to begin a conversation. The figure you run from may not be an enemy. It may be a question you haven't asked, or a strength you've forgotten you hold. The mind, during sleep, turns inward with gentleness. Even the images that unsettle are shaped with care. The nightmare, though unpleasant, is often a teacher in disguise, holding up a mirror not of fear, but of imbalance. And when the body is held safely in sleep, the soul can approach these symbols without defense. You are not alone in the dream. Your breath, your heartbeat, your quiet knowing travels with you. Researchers have found that dreams involving fear or confrontation often occur during times of internal growth. It is the psyche's way of rehearsing change. Not all dreams of conflict are negative. Some are rehearsals for standing up, for letting go, for finding voice. The shadow may appear in the form of someone you know, not because they are the source of pain, but because they carry a role your mind recognizes. The content may shift, but the emotion stays steady. That's where the meaning lives. You may dream of being lost in a forest, a school, a labyrinthine city. This does not mean failure. It means exploration. The feeling of disorientation is a sign that something inside you is searching. The dream offers you space to wander without danger. A reminder that not knowing is not the same as being wrong. Sometimes, you find yourself only by walking in circles for a while. And then there are dreams of being chased. These, too, are common and rich with insight. Sleep researchers suggest that such dreams arise when something in waking life is being avoided. Not necessarily a danger, but perhaps a responsibility, an emotion, a truth. The figure behind you may be something within you trying to catch up. And when you stop running, in the dream or in waking, often the fear shifts. The chaser becomes a guide, a messenger, a version of you, asking not to be pushed away. There are also dreams of falling, not the light jolt at the start of sleep, but long, floating descent. These dreams can symbolize surrender, letting go of control. When life feels uncertain, the dream offers a metaphor. What if you stopped holding on so tightly? The fall in a dream rarely ends in impact. Most often, you drift, or land, or awaken, having passed through something. The dream is not punishing. It is offering release. Some dreams bring you face to face with your own reflection, but different. You may look older or younger or carry an unfamiliar expression. This, too, is shadow work. A glimpse at a part of you the waking self has not yet welcomed. The dream does not judge. It shows. That is all. And there are dreams of rooms you do not wish to enter. Locked doors, basements, forgotten attics. These, psychologists say, often represent the emotional spaces we've closed off, memories too heavy to lift during the day. But at night, the dream may gently knock, not to force you inside, but to say, it's still here and it's waiting with quiet patience. You may dream of people who have hurt you, or people you have hurt. These dreams are not always about blame. More often, they are about healing. The dream constructs a space where a different ending is possible, a dialogue that never happened, a goodbye that never came, a simple presence, no words, just breath and time. The dream gives you what waking could not. Sometimes, you are the one who disappears. You walk through a dream as a ghost, or without a face, or in a body that doesn't feel like yours. This is not erasure. It is a signal that identity is shifting, reforming, moving beyond what it once was. The self is a fluid thing, especially in dreams. You are never lost. You are only becoming. And sometimes, gently, without warning, you confront yourself. You speak to yourself in another form. You meet your own eyes through another face. These moments are rare and tender. They mark a turning in the dream, when the symbols stop acting and begin to reveal. You are the one you are looking for, the dream says quietly. Even your fears are made of you. This is the deepest work of dreaming. Not prediction, not fantasy, but integration. The bringing together of what has been scattered, the welcoming home of what has been kept outside. The dream is not asking you to solve anything, only to stay. Stay in the dream, even when it darkens. Stay with the image, even when it challenges. Stay with yourself, especially when you feel like turning away. Because the shadows in dreams are not punishments. They are parts of you that wish to be held. And the dream is their language. So rest now. Let the night continue. Let the story soften. Let the faces you see, even the ones that seem strange, speak without words. They will not harm you. They are made of memory, longing, and deep intelligence. You are safe here. The dream watches over you. And even the shadow speaks kindly when the heart is ready to listen. There is a place, far inside the dreaming mind, that looks like a garden, but not one made of soil or sunlight. It blooms in silence, behind closed eyes, where memory and imagination braid their roots together. You do not need to know where it is to enter. You have already been there, perhaps not with awareness, but with a feeling, That quiet sense upon waking that something beautiful has just passed through you and gently left behind a trace. Dreams are not only fantasies, they are archives, living, breathing libraries of memory, where experience is not filed away, but softened, rewritten, remembered differently. When you sleep, your brain begins its subtle work, sorting the day, trimming the sharp edges from emotion, reweaving what frayed. Scientists call this memory consolidation, but within the quiet of the dream, it feels more like tending, pruning, watering, turning over the rich soil of experience so something new might grow. That is why you may find yourself dreaming of a place you haven't visited in years. A school hallway, a family kitchen, a path you walked once as a child. It may not look exactly the same. The light is softer, the air heavier with meaning, but something in you knows, this is a place that shaped me. You are not reliving. You are refeeling. The memory is not a frozen picture. It is alive. Not all memories and dreams are real in the strictest sense. Some are composites, faces mixed together, timelines blurred. But the emotion beneath them is honest. That's what matters. The dream does not aim for accuracy. It aims for healing. And healing does not require perfect recall, only presence. You may dream of someone long gone, a grandparent, a friend, someone you loved and lost. They may sit beside you without speaking, or smile, or simply be. These visitations, whether rooted in memory or made from longing, often leave the deepest impressions. They are the mind's way of saying, you are not without. What was meaningful remains. And even if you wake with tears, they are not from sorrow alone. They are also from reunion. There is a term in neuroscience called emotional tagging, which means that memory is stored not just with information, but with feeling. And dreams, during REM sleep, revisit those emotionally tagged memories, not to erase them, but to reframe them. A moment of shame becomes a story of learning. A moment of fear becomes a pathway to courage. The dream is not revising your history. It is helping you carry it more gently. Sometimes the garden is overgrown. You may find yourself lost among unfamiliar memories, places you can't quite place, people you half recognize. These are not errors. These are the spaces where memory blends with imagination. The subconscious is rich with fragments, overheard phrases, background faces, distant dreams. The garden grows wild because the mind is wild. That is its beauty. You may find yourself in a library within your dream, rows of books, some written in languages you do not speak. This is a powerful symbol of inner knowledge. The books may not open. You may not need to read them. Their presence alone suggests that your mind holds more wisdom than waking life often reveals. To dream of unread books is not failure. It is trust, the psyche reminding you that you know more than you know you know. And there are dreams where you return to a house from your past. You walk through rooms just as they were, or almost. A couch missing, a door added, a photograph that never existed but somehow belongs. These subtle changes are meaningful. The dream is not copying the memory. It is reshaping it to match your present self. Every change is a symbol. Every object, a message. Have you ever dreamed of being a child again? Not in a regressive way, but as a quiet return. A dream where you run without effort. Laugh with your whole body. Sit under a tree with the sun on your face. These dreams are not nostalgia. They are reminders that the inner child is still here, still alive, still dreaming with you. The dream offers not a return to the past, but a reconnection to a part of you that remembers joy without condition. You may also dream of objects, a watch, a ring, a letter folded neatly. Often, these are tokens of memory, symbols of time, value, communication. The watch may mean attention, the ring, a cycle, the letter, a message unspoken. The object may or may not exist in real life, but in the dream, it carries the weight of something you once felt deeply. It is not the object that matters. It is the way you feel holding it. And there are dreams in which time folds, where you are both child and adult, both past and present. These dreams often bring great tenderness. They are not trying to confuse. They are showing you how the soul experiences memory, all at once, not in order, but in layers. Your life is not a straight line. It is a spiral, and the dream walks it freely. Occasionally, a dream will offer you a memory that never happened, a conversation, a place, a decision made differently. These are often called counterfactual dreams, not lies, but imagined revisions. Your mind is testing new stories, offering you what might have beens. This is not regret. It is healing curiosity. The dream says, what if? Not to change the past, but to gently acknowledge it. And through it all, the garden grows. Slowly, softly, new paths form. Old ones are overgrown. Flowers bloom with no name. Statues appear with no sculptor. It is not chaos. It is memory becoming art. And you, the dreamer, are the quiet gardener. You do not need to trim or arrange. You only need to walk through. Let the garden hold what you've forgotten. Let it show you what is ready to be remembered. Let it gift you silence where words once crowded. And as you rest now, deeper into the night, know this. The dream does not erase your past. It holds it gently, like petals in cupped hands, so that when morning comes, you do not rise heavier, but lighter, softer, with memory not as burden, but as bloom. By now, the night has wrapped itself around you like a soft veil, almost weightless, almost forgotten. You are no longer drifting towards sleep. You are fully within it, held by something vast and unseen, like a tide carrying you inward toward yourself. In this deep space, the dream changes once again. The mind no longer just replays or reflects. Now it begins to create. The unconscious becomes the artist, a patient, intuitive painter working in complete darkness, using emotion as pigment and memory as brushstroke. It does not try to impress. It does not need to explain. It creates only what is necessary, what is timely, what is true for you, here and now. Scientists have observed that dreaming may be the most creative state the brain enters, free from rules, from inhibition, from the demand for logic. The sleeping mind explores connections it would never dare make by day. This is where invention is born. This is why poets, musicians, scientists, and philosophers have all described dreams as moments of inspiration, places where something unknown appears with gentle clarity. You may find yourself tonight in a place that does not exist on any map, a room made of rain, a forest where the trees hum softly, a hallway where each door opens into a new version of yourself. These images do not ask to be understood. They ask only to be felt. They are made of you, but shaped by something deeper, the hidden intelligence of the psyche that works without effort, the way roots know how to reach for water underground. Dreams often generate impossible combinations, the face of a loved one with the voice of someone you've never met, a building that folds like paper, a sky that melts into sea. These surreal images are not accidents. They are metaphors, symbols layered upon symbols, like stained glass in motion. The unconscious works in poetry, not grammar. Its sentences are images. Its meanings are carried in mood. Have you ever dreamed of music? Not just heard it, but felt it, as though the air itself had a melody? These dreams are rare and radiant. Neuroscientists believe that during REM sleep, auditory and visual areas of the brain can blend, creating sensations that do not exist in waking life. The music you hear may be one your mind composed for you, a lullaby made of color, a sound woven from memory, or perhaps you've dreamed of inventing something, a device, a story, a solution. Dreams allow us to simulate outcomes, test theories, try again and again with no real consequence. This is the mind at its most generous, giving you a quiet laboratory to explore your own ideas, all while you rest. Even if you don't remember these dreams, they leave traces in your waking intuition, moments of knowing that arrive without explanation, because they were dreamed before they were thought. Some dreams come as visions, not prophetic, but profound. You may meet a figure who speaks truth with your own voice. You may see yourself from above, not to judge, but to understand. These dreams are rare. They often arrive when something inside you has ripened, when the questions have lived long enough, and the answers are ready to be whispered, not in words, but in image, gesture, presence. There are dreams that make you feel more alive than waking, not because of intensity, but because of beauty. A glowing path in the woods, a sky filled with slow-moving planets, a single moment of deep eye contact with a stranger who seems to understand you entirely. These are the dream's love letters, the psyche's quiet way of saying, there is more beauty inside you than you remember. And sometimes, the dream becomes symbolic art. You walk through a gallery, you find a painting, you become the painting. Or perhaps you hold an object, a broken compass, a glowing key, a cracked mask. These are not puzzles. They are invitations. Each symbol is the mind's brushstroke, placed exactly where it needs to be. You do not have to name them. You only need to notice how they feel in your dream hands. The unconscious also borrows symbols from myth, from stories you may not even know you've absorbed. Dragons, labyrinths, wise elders, enchanted gardens. These archetypes rise not from memory, but from something deeper, a collective language your soul shares with all who've ever dreamed. Jung called this the collective unconscious, a place where the ancient patterns of humanity live on, reappearing not in books, but in sleep. To dream of a dragon might not mean danger, but power, your own, waiting to be claimed. A labyrinth might reflect complexity, not confusion, but intricacy. The elder may be your own wisdom in disguise, showing up with a cane or a riddle, simply to remind you that you already know the way. The dream pulls from these timeless shapes because they resonate, not just with you, but with all of us. And yet, some of the most powerful dream creations are the quietest. A cup of tea poured by someone who never speaks. A child sitting in a circle of light. A feather falling through still air. These are not grand symbols. They are soft ones, but they often stay the longest, because they are pure feeling distilled. You don't need to create art from your dreams. You already are the art. The way the story shifted, the way the color changed, the way your breath matched the rhythm of the tide in a place that did not exist. All of it, a self-portrait drawn without your conscious hand. And in this deep part of the night, the unconscious continues to paint. Gently, boldly, freely. You may not remember every image. You may not understand every shape, but your dreaming self will. And that is enough. So stay here. Let the dream continue its quiet creation. Let the artist within you keep working without pressure, without plan. Let the colors unfold, the symbols arise, the meanings ripple like soft wind on water. You are not being asked to interpret, only to receive. You are inside the painting now, and it is beautiful. This is the gentlest part of the night, the hush after the last note, the soft closing of the final page. Not because something is ending, but because everything has become quiet enough to settle. The dream, like a bird returning to roost, draws itself in now, not to vanish, but to fold close. And you, the dreamer, are floating not in stories anymore, but in their afterglow. At this hour, the brain enters the deepest rhythms of sleep. Slow waves ripple through the mind, like tides washing away the dust of the day. Your body is so still, it no longer asks for anything. It simply is. And your mind, no longer building images, no longer reaching, begins to rest too. Even the dream needs sleep. But before it dissolves entirely, it leaves you something. Not a lesson, not a riddle, just a feeling, a soft remainder. The way a scent lingers long after the candle has gone out. Perhaps it is the echo of light, or a color you can't name, or a sense of having been understood completely, even by the parts of you that have no language. This is the real gift of dreams, not their content, but their presence. The knowing that, while you slept, something deep within you carried on, caring for you, speaking to you in symbols and silence, holding even what you forgot to hold. Sleep researchers have found that the final cycles of REM, those that arrive in the hours just before waking, are often the most vivid, the most emotionally rich. As if the dream, sensing the approach of morning, weaves one last tapestry to carry with you. This is why we sometimes wake with a strange fullness in the chest, a feeling that something important just happened, even if we can't quite say what. The dream doesn't need to be remembered to have mattered. And sometimes there are no images at all, only stillness, a black sky without stars, a feeling of floating or resting in warm water. These are not empty dreams. They are dreams of deep repair, where the body and mind retreat into silence to mend, to breathe, to begin again. The unconscious does not work only in symbols. It also works in absence. What is not shown, what is not spoken, what is simply allowed to be. In the dream's final hour, this absence becomes presence, not as lack, but as peace. You may feel now as though you are returning, but the truth is, you never left. You have been with yourself all along, in the field, in the forest, in the mirrored halls and endless skies. The dream was not somewhere else. It was a deeper room inside your own mind, waiting only for quiet to be entered. In this final stretch of sleep, the mind prepares you gently for waking. The story's slow, the colors pale. The architecture of dreams softens into mist. And yet the feeling, that beautiful feeling, remains. You were there, and you are still carrying it. Perhaps you dreamed of a garden, and now wake with the scent of green. Perhaps you spoke to someone, and the kindness in their voice stays with you, even if their face is gone. Perhaps you remember nothing, and yet still feel softer, lighter, more whole. That is the dream working quietly beneath memory. You are not required to explain. You are not required to capture it. You are only asked to receive. The dream has done its work, not by showing you what to do, but by showing you what is already alive within you. Your hopes, your fears, your loves, your questions, all shaped into movement, light, symbol, breath, all cradled within the night. And now, as the world begins to stir beyond your window, or perhaps still sleeps beside you, you do not need to rise quickly. Let the quiet stay a little longer. Let the dream dissolve gently. Let your body come back in its own time. The story may have ended, but the softness remains. Because the dream is never really over. It leaves something in you, and it takes nothing away. Let that be enough. Let the final hush be the most tender of all. You are not waking up. You are unfolding. Gently, quietly, completely. And the dream, your dream, sleeps beside you still, like a companion, like a memory, like a whisper that says, "You are whole, you are safe, and you are never far from the place where dreaming begins again."